Right. Welcome back to another episode of Knicks Morning Koffee. I'm Mr. King, and y'all know my partner Joe Cool. All right, we just hope that everybody had a safe and a wonderful Thanksgiving with their families and friends. We sure did. I actually had the privilege of taking a group to the Knicks Thanksgiving dinner. They do several of them. And, I was able to get an autograph, or not an autograph, but a picture with John Starks, Latrell Sprewell, and they had John Wallace, some other people there, a lot of the veterans. So that's just a nice thing for the Knicks to show the fans that, they care about them, especially in these struggling times. All right, so it's a lot to, unpack today, but we're going to try to stick to maybe two or three things. But we have to hit last night's game. It was the Hawks, and everything was stacked against us to lose that game last night. I mean, both teams played the night before. The Hawks won, we lost. The Hawks were on a 7-game winning streak at a total of 120 points per clip. That's a lot. We were without 4 of our key players. And then to add to all that, Randall is struggling offensively. So all the elements show that we went down into Atlanta and we should have lost that game. Now the good news about that was that even when Trey went off in that one particular quarter, we still won the quarter. And then I was also encouraged by how we just finally, when we got, and it took the young guys to do it, but when we finally had guys get up into Trey. I mean, it's easy to shoot when you're coming down and you got that space, and even sometimes in their face, but that wears you out. And when you got guys hounding you and getting over screens and fighting you on defense, that takes a lot out of you, because now you got to gather yourself. It's not as easy, and then you just wore down. So I was watching one post-game show where they say we were lucky that the Hawks started missing. Well, sometimes that's by design, because that happens to us too. We'll be hot shooting, and then all of a sudden the three-pointers go away. But that's because fatigue set in.
Well, call it like it is, though, because he was shooting good, but he wasn't hitting all of them. It just looked big because it was in somebody's face from deep.
Yeah.
Even if he shot a regular three, he did miss a lot of them.
Yeah.
So it was like a balance. It wasn't like he was just hitting every time.
But that's, and see, the key what you just said to me, for me, for shooters too, is balance, because especially the way the NBA is played today, if you have balance on the court when you're making your move to raise up, most defenses are down. They in the downward stance. So it's hard for them. By the time they come up, you already airborne. So you got a good look. But when guys just staying on you, and you can't get them feet right, it's harder to keep shooting.
And he shoots it with a lean on purpose.
Yeah.
So, trying to get the foul.
Yeah. So we finally, I was just it encouraged me, even though it's one game, that we got into them defensively. We put bodies on them. We stuck to them, and we didn't just constantly leave them. Just because somebody else got beat, let the back man recover. That's how the NBA is supposed to be played. When your wings start covering, the ball goes back out, and they design that. That's a Hawks play. It's also a Hawks play is just for Trey to get inside and draw the defense so he can throw the lob. Those are just basic plays that we fall victim to. But if you get beat all the time, and when IQ started putting the pressure, and then you add Grimes, that wears you down.
Grimes, I told him.
Yeah.
That quickly, he had that thing like, maybe he need to play. We ain't get to really see McBride yet, but he had that moment the last game where it was like, maybe he need to play. But I want to say this though. I think our veterans need to take some notes from the rookies. Because even though, they rookies and they might be full of energy, they were sitting all year so far, they doing what their job is and what they supposed to do. With Randall and Fournier, Kemba, they're doing stuff that y'all know that y'all not there to do all that stuff. Fournier not there to take over the ball and crisscross you over and take it to the hole. You're not there for that. You're there to shoot. Randall, you're not there to be LeBron James. You know what I mean? I said that last year and I'm going to say it again. You're not there to be LeBron James. Everybody played their role. Grimes played in-your-face defense and shot the ball. Quickly got down the court and put the pressure on you. Burks is a veteran, but Burks does what he's supposed to do. Just do what you do. You shoot, you score, you take it to the basket. You know what I mean? You be that guy that just does everything.
No, you're right, but there's still a downside to our offense.
Running the floor, catching the alley-oops, dunking. That's everybody's playing a role. It seems like the veterans are trying to go above and beyond what the role is.
I mean, I agree with that to a degree, because remember last week we talked about they never actually said what players it was that had a problem with the offense, because really there is no offense. There might be a couple of things that we might do, but yesterday it looked like the emphasis, because of our other guards were out, but Rose normally pushes, was to push the ball. But we still at times find ourselves with the pusher. Guys are behind the pusher. You know, Obi made it a concerted effort to get ahead of the pack, and you see the difference, which is excuse me, that'd be basketball 1-on-1. You know, get out and fill a lane. So if we could do that, that's a dimension that would at least make us unpredictable.
Yeah,
but we have the guys that could do it.
Yeah, Randall did it once yesterday. Quickly hit him off with a pass.
No, but he got ahead of the pack. A few of his dunks came from being ahead of the pack yesterday.
With Randall, I think it was like once.
No, I'm talking about with Obi. Randall ain't gonna do that. Randall's still doing.
But that's what I'm saying. Randall's our starter, and he's our quote unquote star. But he only did it once yesterday. Yeah,
and that's a problem that the coaches need to get on Randall with, because early in the season when Randall was letting the ball go and getting out ahead, Randall looks good in transition, and he's a force in transition. But the same thing was going back to the other games. There was even a situation where Randall had got the ball in the out of bounds. Burke was waiting for it, and on the other side, IQ was waiting for it. And when Burke seen he wasn't going to get it, it was the way that he ran away from it. It was like, right now I'm supposed to have the ball, and you're messing with the way the offense is going. This is when Randall came back in. So then after 2 trips down court, remember one Randall barreled to the hole, and then he lost it. Then he came back and let Burke bring the ball up. But that's something that's supposed to be said. If they're running when you're on the bench, come in and still run, and at the very least, find a spot ahead of the ball.
Yeah, but
that's
Randall, say if we did trade Randall not going to another team doing
it's not. I know, but that's a conversation. That's got to be a whole segment by itself, trading Randall. Because
no, I'm just saying. Yeah, if we
but
did
people
trade
calling
him,
for that.
He wouldn't be doing none of that. So why?
But I know people calling for that, but it's still you got to trade. You still got to get something out of trading Randall.
No, I'm not talking about a trade. I'm talking about him bringing the ball. I hate it. Like stop letting him do it. I hate it when Melo did it.
Yeah, but I mean we have to. I like when he do it when he snatch it off the rim and you keep going. Don't snatch it off the rim, fly down court, and then just hand it back to the guard.
No, they inbounding it to him sometimes.
Because he's there. They don't know what to do. But I think now they starting to get more comfortable.
They don't know what to do, but I tell you what, last night with the Hawks.
I'm talking about...
Yeah, but the way they had quickly, Obi, Grimes,
I know, that's good for spells,
and they was still... they was going...
Joe, I know, but Joey, that wouldn't... I like that too. But that's not going to win us a lot of games. That's going to... That'll keep us in games. It's two-way street. It's two-way street with our starters and our bench. Our bench is doing their job. But if we took all those starters and those bench players and made them starters, it's not going to be the same results. It's not going to be... That's the beauty of having that type of a bench. Even while they're still learning. The starters still... And Coach last night in the postgame feel like he's still messing, he's still tinkering, trying to get them to be a unit. And then this time last year, we were 2 games under what we are now. So I mean, it's still a learning curve. I thought maybe because Kimba was a veteran, he already come in at least knowing nuances of whatever offenses are, and you tend to know players around the league, so that would make it easier. So that's where I guess that's where I know I was wrong at, you know, because I thought Kimba's IQ, which he does have an IQ, was maybe a little bit higher, that you could come in like a Jason Kidd and already know from watching you over the years, this is what you like to do, this is what you like to do, this is where you like it. But that's not the case for what we're getting. Plus, he's still trying to find his own way. So I just think that what our bench is doing, they're picking up where they left off last year, and they have gotten better as individual players. But I wouldn't say that our bench has to start.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, because that'll throw off our whole dynamic.
I'm not saying they have to start, but then what is wrong? Well, we know it's wrong, but what the heck is wrong with our starters that we all keep saying to talk about the bench players?
Well, but I'm saying, again, your bench players in any league, they have a tendency to play harder.
Yeah, but I never seen in my life where we talk about all 5 or 6 of the bench
Joey, they played together. I know I'm not going to knock the starters for that.
That's what I'm just saying.
I love our bench too. I'm not knocking the starters for that because they played
Barrett
together last year.
Loss.
They got their continuity together. Mm-hmm. They know when one got it going. They got that already, and they fighting for minutes too. And they got and that's what a good bench tends to have. Mm-hmm. But every time, this is even going back years, when you start thinking that your bench should be your starters, even if it's 1 or 2 players, then now you're losing something.
I mean, something about
because there's a reason why you're a bench player when you're playing with the other people on the bench.
I know something's happening because I know when RJ was inbounding the ball, he looked Grimes dead in his face. Grimes wide open, then passed it to him. And Grimes was like, "Yo, why you didn't give me the ball?"
And see, that could be the case though. But RJ, anybody gonna lose their spot, it's gonna be RJ. Mm-hmm. Because Coach was asked also last night, when everybody's healthy, right? And we didn't get to Jericho yet.
Oh yeah, Jericho.
When everybody's healthy, what are you going to do in terms of those young guys? And he said, I'm going to do what's best for the team. Mm. So it doesn't hurt him right now. And that's not a typical thing that Tibbs would say, even if he's alluding to taking out his veterans. Mm. Because at least one thing you do know, if Fournier can get going, you know what you got. To me, we have to force feed him a little bit more. I'm talking about even in our game planning, because you know what you got in him as a shooter. And something he said last week on the other 2 teams he was on, it was a little bit easier because I knew where my 10 shots was coming from. I knew when I was getting them. So, and I always talked about that going back since the Bernard King days. It's so much easier to drive to the gym when you already know where your 10, 20 shots is coming from. And, in Bernard's case, or Melo's case, or Allen Houston, those type of shooters, they knew when and where they was getting their shots. So your mindset is not pressing, I need to shoot. You know you're going to shoot. So now it's just lock and load and let it go. So when he talked about that, things like that need to be wrinkled in. He's not going to be like the bench players are in terms of that kamikaze way that they play. But we put him in position to get 5 to 10 good looks and let the other ones come within the offense. We need that. We need that to push our league, to push our league and our wins up, to stay ahead of the pack. Because just look at last night. We won. I was just looking at the East standings before the game. And I said, what are the chances of everybody ahead of us lose a game? So some of them played each other, so somebody got to win. But everybody that I thought should lose last night that could help us, except for Cleveland, they lost. So Philly lost, Bulls lost, Nets lost, Charlotte lost. So that moves us up 1 game in the standings. So usually we're on the other end of that. So I do agree. What our bench is doing, the starters need to come out with that same type of energy. But sometimes when you're a skilled player, you think your skill going to carry you over. And when it's not, now where you go? Are you going to start running and pushing? So, Derek even does that. Derek's skill is running and pushing. Derek don't play slow. When Derek plays slow, he's not the same type of player. But when Derek is running and pushing, even his jumper is better because he's not thinking. He's just out there reacting. And that's what, these guys got to do. But that was just so encouraging last night to know now that, at least for our bench, we know we're not going to go backwards. And I think Coach knows now, if the starting unit don't have it, I'm not going to wait those few minutes. I bring the bench in a few more minutes earlier. In the third quarter, I bring the bench in a few more minutes earlier. Because most of our stuff, though, is still coming one-on-one with our bench, too.
Yeah, I'm noticing even in the games that we're losing, Randall ain't getting back in the game. He's not putting them back in the game. And like I said, I know you said this a couple of weeks ago, you said, they don't want to never hurt a player's pride, but you can put an illusion all you want. I see he's not coming in the game. I see the players looking at him like, no, you move.
Yeah. Well, one thing I give him credit for yesterday he loafs on offense, right? But the credit I give him, because we were short big men in certain times, he was setting screens and grabbing the rebounds. So, you know what I mean? Like, Randall, you have to make yourself do that. You know you're off because your body language is off. Even when you shoot, it was a three the other night that he made, but his wrist was dangling so that he shot a straight ahead three, which is his shot, but the way it dangled, he's not even confident right now. So do all the other little things because you still can draw a double team so that the other guys can get open and do what they got to do. And then accept it. And when you got it going, you got it going. All right, here's a subject that, and a lot of these today are going to intertwine because what happened last night, what transpired, it just shows everybody that even if you play hard all the time, like a Grimes, I'm going to say more than even IQ, like a Grimes, if you play that kind of hard, it's going to be real hard for teams to beat us for 48 minutes.
Yeah, I don't
if
know.
Every player, because even IQ takes, I can say he take plays off, but there's certain things that I know he's still learning how to be a point guard. And he's still learning how to recognize.
Yeah, I don't know what IQ really
Yeah,
is.
because it was some certain things that to me they could send, certain things they could send Obi backdoor. I see a lot more. And I don't know what they be looking at when they're watching film when it comes to that. But Obi's more thinking, I want to go this way to try to get the ball to shoot, as maybe more thinking, I'm going to go this way. Because as soon as IQ takes off to the basket, because he never goes all the way, that's when Obi should go to the basket. So he can get the alley-oop. But he's still looking for the outlet pass.
I noticed too, and y'all know I love Mitch, but when Jericho was in the game, it was quickly Jericho, Obi, it was a couple people. Even I think Burks was still in there. And when they was running, quickly get the ball. He see it's only two people down there. He sprint down there. Obi would notice. Jericho, he'll work hard. I think Grimes might have been in there. But I think that's what it is. I think when he's by himself out there with the runners, he's like, we was like, oh, he need to play. Yeah. When he's out there with maybe D Rose sometimes, and if D Rose is not pushing, he's not pushing. I think he's just feeding off of. But I think because he said in his head, because he did it last year when it was only him, and he had to start a couple times, and it was just him and Burke. For some reason, something clicks in his head, and he says, "Know what? I gotta push this team." So maybe he is transitioning into one of them. Say if our team was whack, maybe we be calling Quickly's name a little bit more. He might have something that we still ain't really seen yet.
We got a lot we haven't seen yet, but they all guilty. All of our guards are guilty of the same thing.
Because I didn't really like his shot, but then I seen Trae Young shooting the last night. I ain't like the way he was shooting. What is that leaning forward? That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
That leaning forward jump shot.
Because they're trying to get the foul. They're trying to get the 4
D Rose is doing it. Quickly is doing it.
Rose always did it. They're trying to get the 4-point play. But all of our guards, though, are guilty of not running. They run when they got the ball. If all of our guards, and let's take the second unit, for example. If D Rose is pushing and Burt and IQ are ahead of him every single time, look how much better that would be.
Yeah.
Everybody pretty much stays equal running down the court. Maybe a few steps ahead. But starting out, no, that's us. I think
everybody, like I said, everybody Timo Cruz.
But most teams no. We have 3 guys. We got 3 guys on our bench that could bring the ball up. So all 3 now, Burt, Rose, and IQ. It's like either one of them could bring it up. So now, what do the other one do?
But instead of cutting,
and most teams
they go to the 3.
But they won't even stay that much ahead of the guy with the ball. Because in most teams, everybody knows starting or coming off the bench who's the starter is, who's the point guard is. So when the point guard get it, they out. They run into their spots. Because that's who's bringing them. There's no 5 people bringing the ball up. We got 4 when you add Randall. Then you throw in RJ. Obi may bring it up a little bit before he passes it off. Everybody that we got is capable, but but the other people aren't getting ahead. The whole idea of the point forward way back when it started was that the small forward takes the ball off the glass, and instead of catching the defense to set up, you catch him off guard and you push the ball up the court and you get easy buckets. That was the whole idea of the point forward. Now in the point forward, they're trying to be point guards.
Damn it, Pops. That's what it was. I texted you the other day, and I said, you know what we need? And you said, laugh out loud, what? I said, a playmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody keep talking about, I know I seen in the comments, they said we needed DeRozan, we needed this person. No, what we needed was, we needed Lonzo. That was it. We needed that point guard, like a Chris Paul, a Lonzo, a pass-first playmaker. That's what we're missing. We wouldn't be having this headache with Randall. We wouldn't be having this headache with the point guards.
But see, we thought Kemba, even though he wasn't a high assist man, but he was always the type of guy who can get into the lane and find an open guy, even though he's a scorer first. So we thought Kemba was going to come in and do that.
Because we thinking about the possibility of what they can do.
No, but Kemba has the skill set. So to get into the lane, man, we wanted somebody who can get into the lane. So you get into the lane, now you're setting people up. But Kemba hasn't taken on that mantra yet. But yeah, that's what we need. We have enough shooters that if we can get into the lane, and we got enough slashers, that if we can get into the lane, but we got to get into the lane, and people got to be knowing where they got to go. You got to know when to break for the basket.
And that was looking so good in the beginning of this season. I don't know what happened.
Because the threes was falling. When the threes are falling, teams got to push up on you.
It was like we was wide open.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
And
maybe
we was moving the ball.
Playing them.
Yeah.
Maybe they're playing them tight, and we just don't notice. Maybe it's something we just not noticing that they got on the scouting report on the Knicks.
Well, we was moving the ball. When you hitting threes and moving the ball, and see that's why you look at last year in the playoffs. This is why I kept saying that I'm really not just because we beat them last night. The reason why I would say I'm not really was fearing the Hawks. Remember early in the season, because one we went in after beating them 3 games last year in the regular season, which don't mean nothing if you don't do it in the playoffs. And then we went into the playoffs without Mitch, even though we didn't have Mitch for one of those games during the regular season when we beat them. But shooters go cold. So it wasn't so much too that Trey went cold or some of them other shooters went cold because we playing defense. The beauty of that is we matched them, we matching them bucket for bucket. And that's what we wasn't doing in the playoffs that we was doing in the regular season last year with the Hawks. We had no offense whatsoever. We just had Burke and Rose scrambling to get a basket. There was no offense. There was no continuity, no nothing. But yesterday we had that. That's how we was able to beat them last year. Scoring is how you beat those type of teams. Because other than what's their center again? They don't really play that kind of defense. But they got a rim protector. Yeah, they got a rim protector. But the same thing when Mitch is in there. Mitch protects that rim because it makes people think twice about going in there. So I'm not the Hawks. Okay, they're a good team, and are they better than us? I don't know, but they're not the team I'm looking up to when it comes time for the playoffs. If everybody's at full strength, but we can't lay an egg the way Randall and everybody else did during the playoffs. But when you matching them type of teams bucket for bucket, and you got a defensive identity and they don't, chances are you're gonna come out and win that game. And that's what it was last night. Everybody was like the way they beat us in the playoffs. All their guys were eating, right? So last night everybody was eating. Obi, right? RJ, our centers. Everybody was doing something that contributed to that game, even on the offensive end. You look at the box scores, not even look at it, but I will guarantee you we had a lot of guys with 8, 10, 12, because people was getting looks because we was moving the ball and we was making it. So, but it's good. It starts with rim protection, and then it also starts with hitting those timely open shots. So I'm not really concerned with the Hawks. It's about the Knicks and what we do on a daily basis. We just don't have no offensive identity because we don't do nothing the same that we did the game before. So our schedule is, right now we're supposed to be in the midst of what would have been a 7-game brutal schedule. And we winning one and we losing one. And then we have 2 more games. We have the Nets and the Bulls. And then I don't know now, I was considering San Antonio a break because they're not considered a high-powered team. And then we have another part of a brutal schedule, almost to finish out December. So last night I keep saying it was encouraging because we know if we can pick up the tempo, right, and pick up the intensity, now those same teams that I thought we might run into that'll give us a lot of trouble to beat us, at least now we know we can beat some of those teams. We can count the Lakers just because of the name on the front of the jersey, even though LeBron didn't play. But, they still had AD and they still had Harden. That's supposed to be enough to beat you, regardless of what they're going through. Mm-hmm. And then I listened to Harden the other day talk about he don't know what to do. He don't know whether to score or to pass. See, this is what you wanted, Harden. Mm. You wanted the ball in your hand. Now because now the way they losing, he don't know when to do what he got to do. Because now, Harden, you have to think. You're not on a team no more where you could just run up and down the court, do what you want, throw the ball up, and then it don't matter. You're on a team now with championship aspirations, and you have to think the basketball game. And you're not able to think the game because it's not about you now. Drawing in a double team, get the lean in foul. Pull up when you want. It ain't about that. It's a team game, the way the Lakers play it, and you're not fitting in. Even with LeBron, you're not fitting in. So I'm talking with LeBron. With the Nets, even with KD, you're not fitting in. So you're not thinking the game of basketball the way they need you to do it. And even if Kyrie comes back right now, the way your mindset is, that's not even going to help you.
Yeah, I see they be putting their own foot in their mouth. Kyrie did it, remember when he left the Lakers?
Yep.
He wanted to be the man, got to Boston, and said, I apologize, LeBron. I thought it's not what I thought it was going to be. It's harder than it looks. And then, now Harden, you get where you want to go. You want to be the man on a good team.
Yep.
And it's harder than, some sacrifices, but you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, that's why
I don't know whether to pass.
Well, that's why the green light.
That should be a good thing.
Yeah, well, that's why the green light is not for everybody. And Harden is great at what he do, but you're on a team that predicted to go far, and you're not bringing your share. So maybe go off the ball and just be an assassin scorer.
Yeah, like
you
scorer,
were.
You like that better anyway.
Yeah, so do that, but to sit there and make that type of a statement, those are bailout statements.
If I'm running point guard or two guard, and depending on what my role is, I feel like it's an obligation to be a playmaker, right? Because you got the ball, you can see the court a whole different way. You don't got
point guard.
Yeah, the point guard. But when you everything else, I don't got no obligation to look to my right and hit you unless you open.
Yeah, okay.
But if I feel like I'm open, like I said, what Melo said to Shumpert, I practice this.
Yeah.
I practice this shot. So when I get the ball in this moment, I'm hitting this.
Yeah.
So just play off the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know.
All right, so I'm going to throw this at you right quick. I know we talked about this before. Like, the Knicks don't have an identity, right? Mm-hmm. And
I'm ready for you. I got my coffee in my system.
We look at, and I'm not saying I agree with this, but I'm just saying that something don't really have to give because the energy, we're not going to get that type of energy every night. We know that. It's just something about New York. It's easy to do it when you don't have good players. They play harder. So, unless you're running and you want to run, the most basic way for the Knicks to play is inside out when you're not running. Because the type of shooters that we got, if we can get a guy that can occupy the paint, make a turn for a basket, that can capable of making a basket, even in short spells, and then throw it back out, that would be the basic way when the fast break is not there, right? And when you don't got it going. So what would you say to I don't know where he is right now anyway. I don't know if he's still on Houston or wherever he's at. But what would you say to like a Boogie Cousins on a 5-minute whatever per quarter coming in just to occupy the paint, throw it with the idea of throwing it down into him, let him make a move or two to draw in double teams, and then play off that for kickouts?
I've been said that. I would want that.
But we're not even thinking about who we had to give up. We're gonna leave that out.
I'm talking about now.
We're just talking about because I don't want to give up nobody.
No.
That's why I say 5-minute increments.
Yeah, not to give up nobody, but I mean it would take the minutes away from Jericho again. But listen, we don't got no inside game right now. They're not even trying to. Randall post move is trash. I'm sorry.
It's not trash. He's not using it.
Listen, I don't know what he's doing. So I'm just gonna say trash right now. And then Mitch, he won a post, but that's not what they want him to do. He playing whatever the role that is that they playing. And Obi shows signs of post move, but he don't really get a chance to do it neither. So playing inside out, if they're gonna let Cousins come in there and go in the post, I'm all for it. Cause now the 3-point line, it's better. Because they probably still feel like maybe we got to still double team Cousins.
And I don't even mind.
I don't know how he was playing of lately. I don't even know why he's not in the league. I don't know if it's because of injury.
Yeah, last year I think he was with Houston, right, with John Wall.
Yeah,
so I don't know where he is. I don't know what. But I mean, but even if we take what we got, that's just a thought because we have to. We need some sort of an identity.
Where the hell is JaVale McGee go? Damn.
No, he just playing. Was it last night before? He's playing with.
But I've been
somebody we were just playing, but he's not a low post offensive threat.
I'm talking about, but he's somebody that get the ball. Like I don't know. Sometimes like when Nerlens, I don't know what he be doing sometimes. And then Mitch, like I said, he's still getting his legs together.
Yeah, but
Jericho, you seen those young legs, but he wasn't looking to score.
Well, the difference with Jericho, he play almost the same role, take away the threes, as Obi do.
Yeah.
An active body. So if they're not going to throw the ball down into the post, at least let it be an active body.
So right now, we play outside in.
We don't even play outside. We just play outside.
We just play.
We don't even play outside. Outside in will at least be driving and kicking.
Yeah.
We don't even drive and kick.
The only people that drive and kick is Burks and Quickly.
Yeah, but see, Burks and Quickly, what I want to see from out of them, we got to go back to the other thing with Cousins for a second, is I would like to see a little bit more in the precise. Like because the one-on-one is good when it's working, but that don't stay working.
Yeah.
And so it's almost easier to swallow for Burt because we knew that his 20 points, how they was going to come when we brought him back. Even for IQ, I would like to see a little bit more in the being precise when you first make that move into the lane, even though he don't go all the way to the lane. Guys have to know what you're doing so they know where to react. Because, the instincts is good, but it's not, if you don't pull back and hit it, then we off balance. So it comes with practice, but it also comes with knowing your teammates and your teammates knowing you. But even with what Cousins would also give us, he would give us that big body that occupies space. Because there's just no way, even, I don't care if he ain't played in 10 years, no one person can stop him in the post one-on-one.
Yeah, no.
Next to MB, he still has those type of moves. So, I don't know where he's at. I don't know what's the situation, but if we're not even going to look into him, we have to look into designating one of our guys.
Like, yo, where you at?
No, I don't even care if you take, I don't know if they would even do that with Mitch, but I don't understand why not. I don't care if you take Nerlens. Just throw it into him and then, let him find the open man. Like, just throw it down there. We got to get eyes off the ball. We're never going to get eyes off the ball if we never enter that ball in the post. And we'll give it to the high post all day. But we never give the ball to the post to try to create some type of movement, around the perimeter.
At this point, I'll let Robinson shoot a three.
Robinson should be able to do whatever he wants because if y'all was telling Nerlens at the beginning of the season, practice those corner threes and let him go, there's been situations where they both are open, they're both not shooting it. If he's open, just let him shoot.
Yeah.
Just for the flow of the game. All right, so just let us know what y'all think about not even so much Cousins, but a low post presence that can get some minutes a game to occupy the defense. So our shooters can shoot because that's where our bread and butter is really going to lie in our shooting. Another thing I wanted to bring up today was in the post game last night, they kept talking about, and it was Alan Hahn, which I was kind of shocked with Alan Hahn because he knows his Knicks. That when is coach going to unleash IQ and put him in when is he going to graduate him and put him in the starting lineup? And not that he's not capable, I just don't see it.
No, I just think, remember I said, didn't I say this? I wish I keep the clips, but I said it looks like they're frustrated. Remember, they brought up the group chat, and they was like how they're arguing. But I think they see the frustration of if their bench play, if your young core, because they brought it up last night too, what you about to say. They brought up, it was everybody we drafted playing good. Everybody we brought in wasn't playing good. But we said this last year. We said, are you going to bring in players to complement the young players? Or are you going to bring in a superstar for the young players to complement them? So we brought in players but they didn't compliment Randall, not so much the young players. You get me?
Yeah, but
so our young players, like I said, quickly get out there and look like he doing what we need him to do when we need him to do. And Burks almost look like he need Randall contract because he do what we need him.
But they're not necessarily doing. That's where the disconnect for me comes.
Yeah, it can't be.
They're not necessarily, and even Burks himself, and I'm a Burks guy, but what they doing is not necessarily. That's not going to help us in the long run because of the way they doing it. It's like a bench's role is not as defined as a starter's. Like the starters get those few plays before the game, and then you're trying to run them unless the defense disrupts them, or if somebody like Randall decides I'm not following that game plan, I'm doing this. The bench is more get out there and find your shot, right? Most benches they play good, they play harder defensively, and then they just move the ball around and find the open man, find your shot.
Yeah,
but we dribble. What we have is two guys in IQ and Burt that they dribble around. It's almost like that Allen Iverson effect. You dribble around until you shoot.
Yeah, because there ain't no
and
offense.
When you're, but that's it. But you got the ball, so create the offense.
But that's
what I mean. So
coaching.
That's not gonna. Yeah, but that's also
coaching.
I know, but you can't say put that in the starting lineups. Put those in the starting lineup, and we're a better team.
Yeah, but I think it's so much. Like I said, it's the frustration of Kemba. All we ask you to do is push the ball when you think it need to be pushed, and pass it when we need to pass it. That's what.
Well, we gotta hope that's the game. And that's what I think it should do.
But this is what I'm saying. So now.
But is that the game plan that coach is giving him?
But RJ come in and say, I'm doing everything to make up for the defense that we lost. And then Grimes come in for 2 games and make up for the defense that we lost. We need shooting, and Grimes come in and give us the shooting. We need rim protection and another body on the court doing what we do, and then Jericho come in and do it. So that's the frustration we seeing.
But they don't do it every time neither.
And remember, we in New York, so we don't know everything, but we like just go on the court and play ball.
Yeah, but it's easier for a bench. It's easier for a bench player to do that.
Then Randall come in and he's the bench players are playing against the starters of the teams we playing against. Like if we go back and watch these games, that's what we paying attention to. If Trae Young is out there, our bench is still out there.
Well, yeah, because when they come back in,
our bench come in.
Yeah,
Trae Young
I know, but
I'm not.
I just can't co-sign that all the way.
I'm talking about Trae Young been in there for 3 minutes. So why is our starters looking like they having a more hard time?
That's our dilemma. But that's our dilemma. Even when Randall is hot, even when he's hot, our dilemma is that we not looking for the open man the way we should be looking for the open man. But Randall for us to win with the players we got around him, bench or starters, Randall has to be Superman again. Randall has to be Superman again for all that to work, for us to go far in the playoffs. It's not going to work with just that. As great as they're doing, it's not going to work with just that. We have to have a Superman type player. Right now, Randall is our Superman. And when he's playing, I know, but I'm saying, but even with that, with all the great things that they're all doing, they would mean nothing if you didn't have, because you got to understand one thing too. Teams are still scouting for Randall. Now, at some point, they're going to replace Randall.
Yeah,
so they're going to replace Randall. I'm talking about with an outside star.
There's the side of you, and we could put this in the comments. There's a side of you that you just still riding with Randall.
I'm not just riding with Randall. I'm riding with
I'm honestly checked out.
No, when you check out,
I'm checked out with Randall.
You check out.
I'd rather just our young players and we don't make the playoffs.
Okay, no, that's not the point of it. No, that's not.
I'd rather they play.
That don't even make sense. When you know you're capable of making the playoffs.
I'm talking about we capable of
with
making
a good
playoffs,
season,
but
so
Randall
why
don't
would
even be playing.
Doesn't matter. They still game planning for him. If they're not game planning for Randall, and you sit Randall on that bench all game, all the other stuff don't mean nothing. Because now where's IQ going?
No, but he gonna play.
Now where is?
I'm talking about but this is what I hate about the NBA. If he's not playing good, sit his butt down.
But he's doing other good things though. He's rebounding. Joe, you can't take out once you take out your superstar for long periods of time. It's easy for other defenses to take these things away from you.
He's not our superstar.
But he's
just what we got.
He's our superstar, regardless. If you stack Randall up with all these other teams, there's only about 10 Joey superstars in the whole league.
Randall got hurt for the rest of the season. We be saying, "Oh, is Quickly our superstar?" We don't got no superstar.
Every team has their superstar player for their team. What I'm talking about.
No, we got the.
So if that's the case, then Charlotte don't got one. Then if that's the case, then Cleveland don't got one. Then Detroit don't got one.
But what I'm saying is, We put Randall there. We asked, what do we need? We need players to complement the rookies, or we need to complement Randall. We got players that complement Randall. Randall still ain't doing.
We also need guys that draw double teams. We also need a guy that
drawing no double teams.
He's drawing double teams, Joe.
They just showing
still
face.
Game planning. It doesn't matter.
No,
Those teams, when those teams draw up their pregame stuff,
Smith,
I would guarantee you. I'm not saying about Randall. It's about the idea of the person. They ain't game planning nothing for Quigley. They ain't game planning nothing for Burt. They ain't game planning nothing for, as much as I'm loving Grimes and Jericho. They ain't game planning for them.
They're not game.
That's why they can do that.
But you can't call him my superstar if they game.
What I'm saying is that's what makes you. I mean, he's not a superstar playing in the NBA. Every team has their own star, all-star, whatever player. Randall happens to be ours. Because when you take that out of the equation, all of a sudden it's so much easier. Now IQ have nowhere to go because they know you're gonna drive right and you're gonna pull back left.
I say this.
Right? No, and they're gonna take that away from you.
Uh-huh.
Then same thing with Burke. Burke, you're gonna dribble around, and then you're gonna step back. But now they're not worrying about Randall and them guys getting the ball. After that, once I take this away from you, you're done.
But you asked us last week: is Randall cheating the fans?
I'm telling you, and I say he is.
Yeah, and we tell.
But still, the idea of an all-star is what I'm saying.
But I'm telling you, he cheating the fans because we looking out there and you getting what you wanted. I don't care if it was LeBron. If you got that, I don't care if you was Harden.
He is cheating the fans.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't care if you Harden. You saying that you cheating the fans.
Right.
You had a dude passing.
Okay, but we have a better chance right now going deeper into the playoffs with Randall because everybody comes out of a funk. Randall will come out of his. So when he comes out of his, I'm looking at more big picture. It don't make sense now. When he come out of his, now look at all that we got around him. And you tell me with all that stuff we got around him, when he comes out of it, it's going to be very, very hard to stop us. We're going to end it there because it's getting hot and heavy in here. We're going to continue this on our own. You look at our eyes next week. One of us might be. All right. So anyway, we haven't asked y'all to like, comment, subscribe. It's been stagnant the past week. Help us out with that. But you want to add something, Joey? Because I'm ready to keep going.
Nah. But put your things down in the comment. Let us know what y'all think about Randall.
And I'm not saying Randall is a superstar in the NBA, but he is our star.
That's what you said. He our star. He our star, but we keep promoting Kemba.
All right. Well, with that said,
D Rose.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Peace.
Peace.